10 people were stabbed on I believe a train or a bus in one of the many smaller towns in England. And things like this are why I simply refuse to have any kind of debate or argument in regard to the Second Amendment with anybody. I don't believe in gun laws. All gun laws are unconstitutional, which makes them definitionally unlawful. And you will never talk me back 1 inch on our right to bear arms, because we do not simply have guns in this country to defend our homes from intruders. We have guns to defend ourselves and our societies from all threats, both foreign and domestic. Guns were not granted to us as a means of self-defense, which is a God-given right, in order to go deer hunting. It wasn't meant for rabbit hunting or whatever one of these morons, especially some of the older conservatives, want to tell you. The gun's primary purpose and function is not hunting, it's defense. And I don't care how you or how anybody else feels about my God-given right to self and societal defense. I will not budge on that 1 inch, because I've been talking about some of the issues England's been having for months and months, way before a lot of the people that are beginning to kind of catch on to what's going on now. And that's because there were a handful of amazing British patriots that were speaking out on America's behalf when everything was happening in the beginning of 2020 and 2019. So we owe it to them to speak out on their behalf and talk, because the way their government has cracked down on social media in the UK, a lot of times the citizens won't even hear of a story and they won't see what's happening unless an American or somebody else in a freer society speaks out on their behalf and shares the information. So this story perfectly reinforces why our Second Amendment is so important and cannot be budged on and has to be defended at every opportunity, and also why our freedom of speech has to be defended at every opportunity, especially online. Things like digital ID cannot go forward. Digital ID cannot get passed in the United States, and England is showing us exactly why. Because they now have the ability to completely clamp down on these stories, and with the exception of a handful of British patriots that are still risking going to jail and talking about these things, and people outside of the UK like me and a handful of others that are talking about these things, those people have no idea what's going on around them, and they also have no means to defend themselves. These people are begging for their government to legalize pepper spray. That is crazy. I would rather be judged by 12 rather than carried by 6 every day of the week. So I will not budge on the Second Amendment. I will not even have a debate or a conversation about the Second Amendment. Ever.